Welcome into the DGD Podcast, part of the Fans First Sports Network, brought to you by Alumni Hall. Dan, the Dawgs are SEC champs. Man, what a fucking feeling that is. What a feeling that is. Job's not over, though, but we'll be about to have some fun tonight. I'll tell you that. We're going to enjoy it because how many times we've won 2 national titles, but we've won more national titles for the most part than we have SEC titles. So it doesn't come easy. So we're going to celebrate by talking about this game. And honestly, what a game it was, man. I'm going to let you talk a little bit, but what a game.
It was, man. It was a very emotional game. And I was telling some other people that I'm an emotional watcher to begin with, like yelling, cussing, screaming, getting like riding the highs and lows, right? Like I'm not the guy who's like this watching the game. I am like this watching the game. I'm up and down, yelling, screaming, throwing stuff. I'm that guy. I'm into it. When I'm watching it, I am an active watcher. But the end of that game was just emotional. Like, I mean, it was – I don't really know exactly how to explain it. It was like not so much like crying or anything like that, but it was just like it was like this monumental weight that was lifted off of like my soul. And I was like speechless. I didn't have anything to say. I didn't one of my best friends, Richard, was up in Indiana. He was working and he was sitting in his hotel room by himself watching the game. And he kind of called me with the same thing. Like it was just like an emotional exhale at the end of the game. And I maybe it's just an accumulation of everything that we've been through this season and then these last 2 games. But it's like we honestly haven't had an enjoyable game all year long where from start to finish we played awesome and it was just like all laughing and giggling the whole time. You know what I mean? It was like there has been drama and stress in every single game we've played this year. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I think this game perfectly sums up our season to this point. And it's just this game is just reeking of overcoming adversity and being behind and having your back against the wall and finding a way to win. And that's ultimately what great teams do, right? That's what the elite teams do. And I don't think there's as much adversity as we've seen all season for the most part compared to Saturday night. And the way I look at it is, right, I think obviously everyone, probably the main thing every Georgia fan's thinking right now is about Carson Beck and what extent of the injury is there. But, it's very interesting. I guarantee you people are in a glass case of emotion heading into half Saturday night. I was just like, I thought we were cooked. I thought we were cooked. And then Gunner Stockton comes out there and in one half of football, he grinds it out and we win a fucking football game. And so I'm sitting here and I don't know if everyone else will feel this way, but I feel as if I need to eat some crow and kind of owe this kind of apology because I've doubted Gunner for a while. I didn't think that, I thought we would be done. Right. I literally think that. And I've kind of thought that for a while. But for him to go out there and put on that performance, it may not have been flashy or anything like that, but I understand the circumstances of the game and, putting yourself into those shoes, man, seizing the moment, regardless of what it looked like, and really ultimately putting your body on the line. His last play, literally put his body on the line, took an absolute monstrous shot, monstrous hit. Any other quarterback drops that football. But for him to hold on to that, it just, to me, it kind of just sums him up, though. Super tough, doing it for the game, loves the game of football. And so I feel like I sit there and I'm going to eat some crow because I doubted him. And it may not, like I said, it may not have been pretty. The offense, we had that first drive, which we'll talk about. I know we will. But outside of that, things kind of felt But again, man, given 15 minutes to prep in this type of game and this ramifications and the stakes for this game at that too, man. Huge, huge. So I'm gonna give him some flowers, man. Definitely gonna eat my crow there. He proved me wrong, and we're thankful for that. Now, at the same time, like I said before, job's not done, but we'll talk more about that. I just put
Yeah, Gunner coming into the game, and if you're going to eat some crow, I will too, because I had a chance to cover him in high school, and my criticism of him was in every game that I saw that he played where the talent was even, or if he was at a talent disadvantage, he didn't play his best football. And that was always concerning to me, that he kind of was and I don't mean it this way, but kind of like a front runner, you know what I mean? Like, he just, when he had the talent advantage or whatever, he just looked amazing. But when it's like for instance, Jefferson, when he would play against Jefferson, he didn't play that great. And he'd never beat Jefferson. Granted, Jefferson was a better team. I wonder if they ever talk about that in the locker room. Malachi Starks would be like, I'm 2-0 against you as a quarterback, bro.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did to a certain degree.
Yeah. Malachi Starks beat him twice as a quarterback. It's just funny to me. But the one thing that happened in this game is the one thing that I didn't want to happen. And it was one of the things that I have talked about forever is and I don't know if you want to go here right now. So if you don't want to talk about the college football playoff committee right this second, just let me know and I'll skip it and we can talk about it later.
We can. Listen, we've been sent to deep water several times this season in the show.
All right.
I don't think one more time ain't gonna hurt nothing.
So this is my point: is he said that it wasn't fair to punish teams who were not playing in the college football playoff with a new, because they don't have a new data point, so that they can't be moved. They can't they can't be penalized. Nothing can happen to them. Blah blah blah. There has to be some type of advantage, or there has to be something significant for the teams that play in the college football playoffs or in the championship games, because you have Penn State, who hasn't played a effing soul all year long, hosting a playoff game, right? You've got Ohio State, who lost to freaking Michigan, hosting a playoff game, right? And they get to stay home and they get to get healthy, okay? Georgia has to play in a game against one of the toughest teams in the country, if not the toughest team in the country. It is an absolute slobber knocker for 4 quarters that goes into extra period.
Oh, yeah.
And we just lost our fucking quarterback. We lost our quarterback. The most important person on an entire football team. And not to mention that, or not to, it doesn't stop there, is what I meant to say. It doesn't stop there. We lost our punter, who's the best punter in the entire nation. So we lost 2.
Well, you lost your field general. You lost the best tackler on your team.
All right. So, but anyway, so these other teams get to sit at home with no consequences, and nothing can happen to them. And Georgia, a significantly better team than all of those teams, is forced to play one more time. And now we've lost 2 of our best players. And that can dramatically change the trajectory of the team. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully Georgia is plug and play, and we're going to be celebrating. I will tell you this: as much as I hate the college football playoff committee, they did us a friggin' solid with that damn bracket, buddy. That is the easiest bracket I've ever seen in my entire life. We're going to have to win one game to win the national title. We have to win one game.
We will definitely analyze this in a little bit for sure. But in the meantime, right, you lose Carson, Beck, you lose Brett Thorson, and those are massive losses too. And I think the timing of it is really what's interesting, right? You're on a last-second play, and you get hit, and he gets hurt, right? You're right now. I think the time frame for his the time frame for his return is unknown. Sounds like they're getting second opinions, other medical opinions on this.
He's going to have Tommy John this a year.
If that is the case, then yes. We'll have to see. Obviously, we'll try to keep everyone posted as we get information in. That is just the current information that we know. But Thorson is out for the season. That was confirmed by Georgia's staff.
Did they say ACL?
I don't know. I just said that. I know they said kind of like a blanket statement, basically saying
Yeah, it just said knee injury.
surgery. Yeah,
it said season-ending knee surgery on his non-kicking leg, but it didn't say ACL.
Yeah, it didn't say anything about specific injury. It just said season-ending surgery that would be needed. So, partially think that could be the case. We'll see. But no, to your point though, you sit there, you're comparing the situation with, with us playing a conference championship, other teams playing a conference championship, compared to teams that are hosting games that don't have to worry about this. Right? It's an unfortunate thing. Injuries happen, but at the same time, again, it's who gets hurt, right? The one thing that I will say that benefits us is we sit here as SEC champions with the 2 seed and a first round bye. Because now I think the timing of that situation could help us a little bit. Obviously, it's more of a detriment overall. I get that. But it gives Gunner and this team, 3 weeks to get him all the 1 reps and try to prepare him as much as possible. This is where, to me, our regular season situation could come back and haunt us. But at the same time, in the same breath, it can benefit us. And I'll explain why. One, I think it hurts us because we don't have a lot of reps for Gunner in the regular season against somebody else. In the same breath, I have to say that it could benefit us because there's no tape outside of this Texas game. Maybe Florida State. That's about it. Period.
Mm-hmm.
So give or take, right? It's a give or take game. But, I'm just looking at it that way. But yeah, overall, though, I want to ask your opinion on this. First half of this game, it was very defensive game. Both defenses were swarming. I thought it was a really good game there. We go in losing, or we're down 6-3 at the half. I'm sitting there looking at that. Yards be damned. The fact that they were not scoring touchdowns really told me that I think Georgia's going to make the adjustments and find a way. You know what I'm saying? Then the Carson Beck injury goes down, and initially, my brain goes to, oh, we're done. But then coming out of that half, getting the ball, and watching that 10-play, 75-yard drive, it's just like clockwork, just moving down a finish line. I was like, oh, shit, we might be on to something here. Yeah, it was just fun to watch. I want to ask you this. What was there's so many of these, but what was your favorite play? What would you say would be your play of the game?
The Lawson Lucky catch on on that third down. That was sick. That was sick. Listen, but that wasn't a touchdown play, but you can make an argument that was the most important play of the game.
Yeah.
Because if you don't pick up that third down, you don't score on that. If I'm not mistaken, that was a touchdown drive, wasn't it? Coming out of the half?
That was the first drive. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I just want to make sure because, like I said, it was emotional and everything started running together. You can make an argument that was the most important play of the game. First of all, it was badass, right? So, it's twofold. Not only was it an amazing badass play, but then also it might have been the most important play of the entire game. So yeah, for me that was huge. And then just because I want to talk, I just want to say it. CJ Allen batting down that ball on third down on that blitz when he wrapped around and came through.
Oh yeah,
that was huge. Yeah, that was huge. Because that would have been a big chunk play if he was able to complete it. So
no doubt about that. there's so many good ones here, and you listed a huge crucial moment. There's a couple that come into my brain. I'm sure we're going to talk about these anyway, but I'm just looking at that overtime run by Gunner, man, and just like I said, it's just I feel like I think it exemplifies him in a sense of just literally leaving everything out there for your team and for the school, man. And
He might not want to run up so high.
well, I think even if he was trying to get down, I think the guy behind him had him to where it wouldn't have mattered. But I hope that Mike Bobo tells him, "Hey, next time try to get down." Like
Yeah, I thought he
understanding
met Jesus
first,
on that play.
but it looked like it on the slow mo. Oh my word! And in real time, though, dude, I was like, "Oh, he's dead." Oh, not really, but like it's like he took that shot, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's out cold."
Yeah,
And what scared me the worst was how his leg folded back.
Yeah, that could have been a torn ligament, like so. But that's one of those things. Is like when you're out, your body just does stuff like that. Like
Oh
the thing is that probably didn't hurt at all, but it just
because your body's not tensed up to do it.
correct.
Like it's almost like a car crash type thing where if you don't prepare for it, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't do it as bad. Yeah,
Right.
it is crazy how that worked though. But and then they called it for targeting. Initially, they threw the flag to review it. Ultimately, no targeting. So keep in mind, that's like I said this earlier. If he drops that football, we lose that game.
Yeah, because he's not coming back.
Correct. Well, correct. There's no flag. It's crazy to me to see him take that kind of shot and hold on to the ball. Looking at Ohio State fans back in a couple years ago, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's a night shot, but he held on to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Just letting that be known.
Either way, that shot got an audible gasp. That shot got an. My wife was like, "Oh my god!"
But you know what though? That hit also just summed up how this game was. It was a physical football game, really physical football game, man. You had guys flying across all over the place, smacking each other up, just hitting hard as hell. Dan Jackson laid a man out. He kept onto the ball too. I think it was Golden or something like that. Maybe holds onto the ball, takes a shot too, man. Clean shot. And I think Kirk Herbstreit was one of the commentators calling that. He was happy in that moment when Dan Jackson, the referees just letting them play hard physical football. I agreed with that. I really did.
Before you move on too far, I want to give credit to Kirby Smart because after the game, he said, I went and looked at it and that was not targeting. And what a departure from what Ryan Day's bitch ass did.
Oh, it is the antithesis to Ryan Day, to a T. God Almighty.
I thought it was targeting. I did. I thought it was targeting. I thought it was forcible contact at the head or neck area. But Kirby was good with it. And if my coach is good with it, then I'm good with it. So and he didn't bitch, he didn't moan. He's like, hey, they showed it back to me, and he led with his shoulder. So we're good.
You know what? Kirby may not have complained about that, but he did. He was cooking Saturday night, boy. I know you heard him in the post game talking about
he was
Sankey.
Cooking Greg Sankey's ass.
That was beautiful, man. Oh my God! What are you? We gonna rest. Mm-hmm. Greg Sankey and that staff sent us on the road all year long. I was like, oh shit, he is cooking.
He was standing right there.
No, that right, but you boy, the face.
He's right next to him.
Oh, I know. The best part about it was Greg Sankey's face, though. It was, dude. Oh, it was funny.
He wasn't happy, but F him.
Yeah. I do want to ask you this, though, while we're on Kirby real fast. Two things. First things first, I want to ask this. Did you catch Kirby getting emotional talking about Gunner after the game?
He got choked up.
Tell me how much. If you're a recruit, I mean, you're dealing with this, right? Being at Mill Creek and all that stuff. You get this. I think that is huge, huge. To just show Kirby as a person and as a coach, he cares about these guys, man. He cares about them.
Yeah, I think so. That one's hard, right? Because I don't know if it's that that emotional connection because coaches don't really have that relationship with the backup quarterback. They don't. Because they spend so much time with the starter, they don't really have that connection. I think it was more not his absolute just love for Gunner. I think it was just his admiration for what he was able to accomplish. Does that make sense? Like, it's a fine line, and I'm not saying he doesn't love him. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, like, I think that emotion was coming from a place where he was just in awe of what he was able to do, to be able to operate with the weight of the world placed on his shoulders in a moment's notice, right? And he before he got emotional, he mentioned that the guy hasn't played, and I think so. Like, the way I interpreted that emotion was he was in awe of what he was able to do, given the circumstances. Does that make sense?
Well, hell, no, it does. Because I mean, if you sit there and look at it, he comes in like we said. I don't want to beat the dead horse too much. He comes in cold, 15 minutes of preparation, and like I said, in the biggest game of the years to this point, cold as hell, right? No meaningful reps during the season at all, hardly ever. Now the thing about it was that I want to add to this too. He comes out there to start the half, and for me, I noticed. I don't know if you saw this, but him and ETN right before their first play of the drive. ETN taps him, right? And they kind of have a little moment for a second. And it's just, to me, I looked at it as like, that's hey, we got this. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of sums up that moment right there. The start and the culmination of this is, dude, the whole team got a shot of energy and juice from him coming in because they love this guy, man. Well, they love this guy.
Can I piggyback off of what you just said? So do you remember in our pregame, our show before the game, I talked about, I felt like, because remember the narrative leading into the game was that ETN might not play. And we were having our show and I was talking about having ETN miss that game would be a significant loss for us, not only because he scored 3 touchdowns, but I mentioned his leadership, his catching and his pass block, all that stuff. Right. So ETN coming up to him going, hey, man, first play, give me the ball, and I'm going to get you off to a good start, right? And, like, that's part of that leadership that I was talking about that we would be missing. And you're 100% right to notice it. I think it was very important because the very first play went to ETN on that little swing pass, and I love the idea of that, of let him throw. It's a very safe throw, but just let him throw, get it out of his hands, let him see some success. And the most important part of that was that ETN made it a successful play so that he's got momentum, right? Because if you throw that swing pass and he gets tackled, he gets tackled for a 5-yard loss. Now we're like, oh, shit, here we go, right? But that's not what happened. It was 8 yards. Oh, shit, here we go. Right? So it was like, oh, shit, here we go. But it was in a good way.
Yeah, I think there was, excuse me, on that first drive, though, that moment helped it out. But I think what really set the tone for that second half was him running that first play, his first run, and him lowering the shoulder. And if you saw it, he was chirping. And to me, it reminded me of him at Raven. Because that's what he would do. He would run and he would shit talk, and that's just what he would do. And I'm not mad at that either. But he did that, and I was like, oh, I think he's starting to feel it. And then you sit there and you see, like you said, the Lawson Lucky throw, and he's on the run, and you cannot put that ball in a better spot. There's no other. Just beautiful. And to me at this point, though, as well, when I watched his release, this is something that stands out, and I think it's got to be talked about. His release, he throws a very, very tight spiral, and I think that will help receivers catch the ball better. And he can still put it in, he puts the ball in good position. And I think another thing, and he's making good decisions. If you look at it, he went 12 for 16, 71 yards in the air. Yes, he had the interception, and that was a bad interception. Going back and looking at it, he was trying to throw the ball away, but in that moment, you have to make sure that ball goes out of bounds if you're throwing it away.
He just didn't
If
have
you're
enough
throwing
ass on it.
Correct. To be fair, and I heard people talk about this, the middle of the field was open. He had crossers coming. But again, I'm not going to hold too much judgment on this, even though Lawson Lucky saved a pick six.
All right, hold on. Timeout. Before you go on, the middle of the field was never an option on that play. It was a one-read throw. It was to Cash Jones. The blitz came right in line of sight. He freaked out. It spooked him because he's never played, right? So, I mean, that's just going to happen. So, it's a one-read throw. It was, look here, throw back to Cash Jones. He turned his head. There's a guy in his face. He's like, oh, shit. He tried to throw it this way. Didn't have enough ass on it. But the middle of the field was never in play on that play. It was never going to be there. So even if the guys were running wide open, that ball was never going to go there.
Now, I will say this. This is something that since you said that, I would love to see Bobo coordinate something where that becomes a play.
Well, for sure.
Come back to that at some point. But yes.
But remember, he didn't have time to rep any of this stuff. So
no.
They're trying to get him quick throws.
Get him completely. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not trying to say, hey, listen, I need you to read 4 different things. Like, no, it was a one-read throw.
You can't. Well, you'd be crazy to expect him to come and do that. Crazy.
I think Kirk did an amazing job on that play of diagnosing it right away for all the viewing public. He, if you were watching the game, he pointed that out, that was a one-read throw and it was going to be quick. And like you could see, he flinched basically.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong. I will say this though, there were people. This is why it pays to go back and watch every single game the next day, because from a personal experience, I was sitting there, I was to myself more so than anything, pissed off. I was like, why didn't we run it, be conservative in this point in time, just to take the field goal, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you're sitting there and I'm looking on the, rewatching and everything like that with the emotion out of it at that point. And I understood what happened, right? And it calmed me down a little bit more. You don't like the interception. Like I said, you're glad that Lawson Lucky was able to make the tackle. You're glad that one of the defenders that could have blocked Lawson Lucky was celebrating, because that old buddy that caught that interception had nothing but space. Nothing but space. So you saved the touchdown there, and ultimately that wins you the ball game. So, it wasn't the prettiest game, and that was a bad decision. But for the most part, to come out into the game cold as he did, I thought Bobo helped him out. I thought Bobo did a good job keeping him comfortable, making easy decisions. Something that quarterbacks, and I feel like young quarterbacks, I want to get your opinion on this. Some of them think that they need to do too much. But him checking it down to ETN and Cash Jones, things like that, checking it down to the running back, it's a sign that he's going through his progressions and nothing's there. Sometimes that is a loss, depending on how you view it. However, it's also something where it's an easy completion, you're getting some yardage, and you're not ruining confidence. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to pick your brain on that. When you see those decisions in real time, what are your thoughts on
that? Trying to be as careful as I can, because every quarterback is different. Every quarterback has strengths and weaknesses. A lot of quarterbacks are able to survive on their athletic ability for a long time before the decision making and the intelligence part becomes the most dominant part. Typically, once you get to the NFL, the most important part is the cerebral part. But young quarterbacks, for the most part, will survive on athletic ability and instincts. Decision making is something that gets cultivated. Like, the more you play, the more you understand what I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to go, what I can do, what I can't do. Things that Gunner could do in high school, he can't do in college. Things he can do in college, he won't be able to do in the NFL. Like, because everybody else is so much better, some of the athletic abilities or advantages that you had kind of go away. So it is extremely unfair to expect he's not young, he's a junior, but an inexperienced quarterback or a quarterback with not a lot of game experience at this level to go in there and be perfect, or be, Carson Beck has got a ton of starts under his belt, but he's still made bad decisions, right?
Yep.
It's just it's very, like I said, I'm trying to be careful because
it's part of the process.
correct, but you can practice as much as you want. You can have the mental reps and you can watch all the film in the world, but when you're on the field, things look different and move differently,
Yeah,
and you've got to be able.
You just got to go out there and play ball.
Right. So I mean, that's my take on it. Is that the one thing that there are going to be bad decisions that you're going to have to live with, and I think Kirby understands that. And
Yep.
What you try to do is you try to protect him from himself, because he's going to want to go out there and try to do, like you said, a young guy maybe wants to do it all by himself, right? But we saw that out of Carson this year, where that bad stretch, and Aaron Murray did a great job of pointing that out. It was one of those situations where he knew he didn't have the same talent that he had last year, so he thought he had to do more as opposed to doing less. Where in this situation this year, all we really need Carson to do is not F up. And now that's kind of like where we are with Gunner now. Like, all we really need you to do is just make the plays that you're supposed to make and don't F up, because our defense is good enough to keep us in the game.
Yep. I will say this too. I think I want to talk about one more part of this offense before we move over. We have to talk about the defense, because what a game for the defense. I want to talk about ETN. Obviously, Harry Leggy in the chat saying that props ETN, rib injuries hurt, but he gutted it out. I want you to. I think you get this, but to me, ETN, he was ready for this moment, and you heard it in the post game. And I think that matters, because this game matters to him. And that's the shit that I like to see, because he ran hard as hell. And yeah, it was just one of those things. And he had a good game. We finally got to see a breakout run, right? Huge breakout run in the second half. Part of me leads me to believe, I think Gunner's presence stopped that end from crashing down, opening that lane. So that's another thing that teams are going to have to start respecting as well. But ETN ran hard as shit. Obviously got the touchdown. Crazy stat, man. Peyton Woodring and ETN have literally been a cheat code against Texas. Completely a cheat code. Keon, reporting live from the House of Pain. I ask you this. What are your thoughts on the offense? I'm going to get you spun back up. Overall, quick thoughts on the offensive side of the ball.
I got to say, man, being able to get out there and make plays, the offense, shout outs to them. Shout outs to our offensive line, most importantly. Shout outs to Trevor Etienne. Shout outs to Nate Frazier.
Not Travis.
There's the voice. Oh, sorry, there he is.
No, but shout outs to them though. Honestly, man, Gunner Stockton came in. He ended up taking over after Carson got hurt. I don't know the severity of the injury, man, but if we just witnessed Carson Beck's last game, Carson Beck, I truly appreciate everything that you did for the University of Georgia. DGD for life, man. Talking about a guy that laid it all out there.
No doubt about that.
So hopefully a speedy recovery for him. Hopefully he's good to go come draft time. But yeah, Gunner Stockton. Why does this always fucking happen? Can somebody answer that question for me, please? Why does this have to be the transition amongst quarterbacks for us?
Well, because if it didn't happen to us and this team specifically, it wouldn't have it any other way. This team has like I said, this team has battled through so much adversity.
Literally everything that you can possibly imagine has happened to this team.
Well, think about it this way. We're going to do a very, very fast recap here. Georgia had the hardest schedule I've ever seen.
Ever.
You go 10-2. You win your conference. You just lost your quarterback and your punter, which doesn't sound like much until you ask Kobe Pierce about special teams.
He's the best punter in the country.
And then,
that's another thing too.
Let me cook with Kobe. Come on now. Anyways, I think
I was a fucking punter. What are you talking about?
Jesus,
I was the college punter.
Dan, I know that. Let me cook. Jeez, buddy, you put water in on a hot stove. Now you cooled me off. Done here.
No, but seriously,
ruined it. I'm messing.
No, but seriously though, I mean, you and let's just take a second, right? Let's just take a second and acknowledge that the simple fact that Georgia went 10-2 with the number one strength of schedule in the country, and then went to the conference championship and won it. This has with a backup quarterback. This motherfucker ain't played since January. Okay. Literally since
Florida State fans are big mad.
Fam, we did not really see Gunner Stockton since January, bro.
No, not at all.
Here the fuck we are in December, 11 months later, almost to the date. Like, this shit is crazy. Gunner Stockton been making sure the bench don't fly away the entire season. And here you go.
Doing a good job at that, too, for the most part.
I mean, a world-class job. I mean, at this point, I think he's memorized the names of all of the water boys, the equipment managers, the personal trainers, okay, the pyrotechnics people who set that shit up on the sideline before. Yeah, he knows everyone. There's literally
digging deep right there.
There is literally not one person on that Georgia sideline that does not know who he is because he's had all season to talk to him. And here you go, get into the conference. Bro, we all talk about like how great of a job he did, right? He probably thought, hey, look, waking up that day, Gunner probably thought, hey, look, I'm finna get dressed. We're going to go into the SEC championship, probably going to smack the shit out of Texas. And guess what? I got a front row seat, baby. Let's do this. Let's party up. Let's enjoy the time in Atlanta. Let's go get us some wings. Maybe sneak off to a strip club with Quavo.
Magic City lemon pepper on a Monday.
You see what I'm saying? Like, he probably had his whole weekend planned. The date, that game day, all of a sudden, close game. All right, here comes Carson stepping back. Oh, shit. Where the fuck is the football? I got to get ready. What in the fuck? And now he comes in. Halftime happens. Boom. I'm not even going to sit up here and try to recap the whole game, but just understand the simple fact, and I will be honest. I owe Gunner Stockton a major apology because this entire time I thought Buddy was hitting the portal as soon as this season was over. And from what I just saw in that SEC championship game and what he has the potential, because Gunner Stockton has the potential to do the greatest shit in the world here, which is you go on a national championship run and win it all.
No shit.
Like that's the craziest shit to me, because to me, I thought, I don't know about y'all, but I thought Rashada was like quarterback 2. And then,
we found out Rashada's 4.
Bro, which shocked the shit out of me.
Like, bro, he was talking about I'm gonna put Pug in. I was like, what?
bro. Like that shocked the shit
That
out of
blew my
me.
mind.
That blew my mind too, because I automatically thought, I'm like, you always see when they do the little cutaways to like Carson Beck on the sideline and where Kirby is talking to Carson. Gunner Stockton is always right there, or not Gunner Stockton, but Jaden Rashada is always right there. So it's like, oh, you just figure that he's the next guy up. Carson go down, in come Gunner Stockton. I immediately begin praying while driving. And I didn't even get the chance to watch the last 2 minutes of the game or all of overtime. Thanks to Rob and our boy Paper Chase for giving me live updates in Discord while I was on the way to the airport to go pick up my sister. Selfish that her plane landed during the SEC championship, but that's a whole nother problem. But it was just, and then for him to come in and ball the way he did. Granted, the pick, hated that part, but it's just, bro, Gunner Stockton. I mean, at this point, as a person who didn't believe, you're all I have left.
Yeah.
Keon's speech there to
Mike Bobo.
We talking about how Robert's over here in his corner over there flexing on us his little freaking alumni hall damn deal he's got. Look at him with that damn Nate Frazier.
Keon's little pep talk right there, man, got me wanting to go run through a motherfucker's face mask. What happened? That's what that is.
But it gets crazier because I just look at it and I coming into it all, I didn't have faith in Gunner Stockton. I really didn't. I'll be all the way honest. And Gunner Stockton, if you ever watch this, I owe you the world's biggest apology. And I truly am sorry for doubting you. Because, man, I didn't think there could be all of the unopportune shit that could happen to a team in a season. The final checkbox was Carson Beck getting hurt. Like, honest to God. We've literally lost players on every side of the ball, in every fucking position group, in every single room. I don't think there's not a single person on our offense that has played the full season.
You know the interesting part about it, though? This is that, like, losing Carson Beck was literally like the last level of a hard-ass video game. And now you're trying to overcome that.
Fam, now you got to overcome that with a guy who's like level 2, ain't played. You don't even know what his skill set is.
We just had to take on the boss with that much energy left.
That shit flashing like a turn signal.
You beat the boss and you finish with 1 HP for sure.
Fam. Bro, I remember Carson went down and I was like, we're fucked.
Dude, you should have absolutely heard this, man. Buddy, I'm talking about a real-time crash out. I was like,
bro.
Oh, man. I was like, oh, boy.
Now, Mike Bobo, I know I've said a lot. I know I haven't been your biggest supporter this season. But if you don't cook with nobody else in that fucking quarterback room, if it's not the guy that you went out and found your damn self, bro, please. Because if we win the national championship this year, this might be the greatest natty run of all time. Because what in the fuck? What in the fuck, guys? What in the fuck? You win the national. Think about it like this. Just hear me out. Imagine winning the national championship while your team leads the nation in. Yeah, pretty much. Imagine
go solo.
Imagine your team winning the national championship while also leading the nation in drops with a backup who hasn't played since January. And your starting running back really can only breathe out of one side of his body. Like it's I mean,
we're sitting here talking about it, but dude, Texas's defense isn't just,
and you only got 4 wide receivers left on the roster because everybody hitting the portal. Like, what in the fuck? Oh my God.
Yeah, we're not talking about portal just yet. We will have to at some point for sure. But Yeah, but no, I want to switch over to this side of the defense. We have to talk about this defense. Like I said, Texas defense looked really, really good. Good defense. Listen, that defense is legit, okay? But I want to talk about our defense. Some crazy shit popped off, and again, multiple turnovers. You turned Quinn Ewers over twice, 2 picks. You didn't get any strip sacks like the first time, but you get 6 sacks, 15 tackles for loss, and you hold them to another, again, 1.1 yards per run. This defense was cooking, man. God almighty, that defense was cooking.
For the record, I think Georgia turned Quinn Ewers over multiple times.
No, he did. This is twice. He got 2. Dalen Everett got 2 picks in that game.
No, I'm talking about physically.
Oh.
They rolled that man up like a backwood, boy.
You dirty dog. You dirty dog. Dan's over here like, this man just went there.
He was just getting punched on.
I got to ask Dan this. Dan, what are your thoughts on the defensive side of the ball?
I thought they played pretty well. The first half was really aggravating because you would do such a great job of getting them in 3rd and long, and then you would give up the chunk play for the first down. It was extremely aggravating. They couldn't get out the field. And then at the end of the game, they had a lot of opportunities getting them in 3rd and long. It's just like, but that has been a problem all year. And that's kind of like where I've graduated to now. It's you can't do the what if anymore, Georgia. Like, well, if they would have done that, it's like, no. Georgia's had a problem getting off the field on 3rd down all year long. We still have really talented players, but collectively something just isn't all the way there. And, that could come back and bite you at some point. And it has, the Alabama game, right? You come all the way back, take the lead, and then you just let them go right down the field and score on you. Ryan Williams obviously makes incredible play, but that's neither here nor there. But the point is that Georgia's defense played really, really effing good, but then they would let Texas off the hook sometimes, right? And it's just like, I don't know how to say it other than they're just missing that killer instinct where in the past we had like those defenses that were so suffocating that they got you 3rd and long. They were coming so hard and so heavy that you couldn't even breathe. And I feel like that's what's been missing. And, great point right there. Coach Boom on the headset, on the sideline. Love to see it. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they play one of their better defensive games all year. And like I said,
man,
just because they gave up those 3rd downs didn't mean they played like shit or anything like that. I'm saying they played really, really good. No. But it was just kind of frustrating because they would let them extend drives. But the defense answered. CJ Allen and I've been kind of we were on this show, I believe it was. And I don't remember who said it, and I don't really care. But somebody was like, none of these middle linebackers have really impressed me all that much. CJ Allen these last 2 games is like, hold my beer. Like I'm about to impress you right now. That stunt that knocked down that 3rd and 12 that made it that would have been a 1st down. I think that led to the field goal, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that when they kicked the game tying field goal? It doesn't matter.
Maybe.
CJ Allen's a beast. Played great. Jalen Walker, Damon Wilson made a couple of really nice plays. Michael, he's still there. Starks has had a couple problems here and there. Dalen played pretty good. I don't know. Like I was extremely happy with the defense, but I'm sure you guys were like I was too. Like, just I love the team, but sometimes, sometimes they piss me off. It's like, God damn it, boy, get off the field one time.
No, I think overall though, man, like I look at this defense, they were swarming. They outmatched Texas physically on the trenches again. I know Texas did not have Kelvin Banks, but I think Dan might be muted.
What?
You look like you were going on some kind of a rant on my screen.
No,
we just lagged out. That's all that was.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, because I saw that same thing.
Okay, maybe it's just Dan trying to talk to Lane Kiffin in the portal. Never know. But either way, But no, I look at this defense, man, swarming. I want to ask y'all this: player of the game, offense or defense? Who are you? Who are you? Who are y'all giving the game of the ball? Giving the game ball to? Well, Dan, we'll let you go first.
Trevor Etienne. I told you, Keon, you weren't on with us, but I that was my thing. Is I felt like we couldn't win this game without Trevor Etienne. I just his experience, his leadership, his maturity, all of those things, and not to mention he's a good running back for sure. I just felt like without him we weren't going to win, and man showed up. I mean, listen, there were a lot of other guys that had really good games, Gunner, everybody else, and you guys could pick them all. But Etienne's my guy. I feel like if he's playing well, we play well.
Keon, who's your game ball going to?
Peyton Woodring. Sorry.
Peyton Woodring. Okay. Not
Peyton
necessarily
Woodring.
mad about that. Not necessarily bad about
I
that.
mean, honestly, when you sit up here and you watch a field goal kicker miss field goals over and over and over and over and over again.
Auburn missed two. Yeah, missed Bert Auburn missed two.
Burnt Auburn or Bert?
Bert, like Burt Reynolds. Just spelled with E-R-T, not like Bert and Ernie, I guess, at that point.
I thought it was B-U-R-T.
No.
B-U-R-T, Auburn?
B-E-R-T, Auburn. Yeah. Either way. So, Keon, you've got Peyton Woodring. I'm going to give mine, but I'm going to take a second to give a shout-out to our sponsor, and that's Alumni Hall. That is Alumni Hall, folks. Gifts for the ultimate Georgia fan, right? They've got it all. You see what I'm wearing? They've got hoodies. They've got, by the way, new SEC championship merch as well.
Oh, I'm finna go shopping.
Yeah, where's our swag? Like, hey, Alumni Hall, give us a shirt.
We'll just give me a hat. No, for real. Like
we're gonna have to make some
one SEC championship hoodie. It does the job. Not gonna lie.
Oh, bro, I rock a hoodies 24/7.
Bro, I literally took a hoodie off to do this podcast.
I put a hoodie on to do this podcast.
I put my jersey on because Keon's speech made me do it.
No,
you know how it goes. But yeah, now make sure check out Alumni Hall in stores. Get yourself some, or get your loved one, get them a nice piece of Georgia gear, if you will. Give it to them from Alumni Hall. Go in stores, they're in Athens, or you can go online, go to dgdpodcast.com/alumni hall. Check them out. Use our website if you're going to go online. And if you do, 8% will go to the Classic City Collective. So 8% of your order will do that. They also check out Apple and Android because they have the Alumni Hall app. So you can download the app and start shopping on your phone. It's very simple, very easy, clean, sleek. You name it, you can find it. Alumni Hall, thanks for supporting the show. Been a long-time supporter for the show, long-time sponsor of the show. Couldn't do it without him, Keon. Could not do it without him.
Yeah, no, I'm about to buy that SEC merch. What is it? SEC championship merch? How does it look? How does it look?
I thought it looked clean as hell. That's just me.
I like the hats. I saw the hats. Might cop me a couple. Got to give me a SEC championship visor. Shout outs to Kirby.
Oh man, you doing it like Kirby. Oh yeah, I gotta give up player of the game. I gotta go Dalen Everett.
Man. For a person that's been under fire from this fan base, man.
Keon, I want you to understand this. In the 2 games against Texas, he's had 3 picks.
Yeah.
He's had 3 picks against Texas.
Yeah.
I do want to say this. If I have an option to give another game ball to somebody, I'm going to give it to Gunner Stockton for putting his shit out like that, man. I have to go. I can't keep. something just compels me to give him a game ball just because, dude, what I saw in that second half and especially overtime, dude, that overtime run it just changed the feel to that game. It just showed me that it meant something to him, and it meant a lot to him.
Buddy got folded like a lawn chair and got right back up. Shout outs to him for real.
Hey, held on to that fucking football, though, boy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I will say this, though. But I want to talk about this. I got another question for you. But to me, I feel like this victory, this SEC championship, was a program-defining win. To me, it was that monumental.
Yeah.
And it's not. I mean, we've played in some. We've won 2 national titles in our time doing this.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this just feels. I'm gonna say bigger because it's not. But there's just more emotion tied, almost the same amount level.
Yeah, that game
because of the context of the game.
Bro, I think it's not just the context of the game; it's the context.
It's a story.
Of the season.
It's a story a story within the game, and how it encompasses the entirety of our regular season as well.
Bro, trials and tribulations, bullshit and bravery. Like that's really what it came down to.
Yeah, you're definitely talking ups and downs of the season, man, because it's just crazy when you sum it all up. This game, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give credit to Texas for defensive effort here. Offensively, you got to score touchdowns, and I don't think Texas fans listening to this wouldn't agree with me. You had opportunities. You got to find a way to punch it in. But that's neither here nor there. Keon, I got to do this. There is a lot, and I mean a lot, of Texas fans in our comments after our Justice Terry commit special.
Yeah.
I don't see them here today, and I hope they could come back for it, but I don't think they're here. If they're here, they haven't said anything in our chat.
Well, I will tell you this. My biggest thing is as a Texan, I knew when Texas got in that especially with NIL being free reign, they're going to be big spenders. But here's the truth, and this is the biggest thing. We have made it to the college football playoffs. You know, it's going to be a defining moment is if Georgia ends up having to go up against SMU, and those SMU donors watching their team get the shit kicked out of them realize, wait a second, guys, we don't have anybody that we need for us to go win a title, right? You think Texas is a big spender. SMU's the richest fucking school in the state when it comes to this college football shit.
People forget because of the death penalty that killed their programming momentum, but they were a juggernaut back in the day before that.
Fam, the fucking president, it was a fucking cheerleader. Like this is like George W. Okay, this is not one of those. Okay, this is not a regular person we talking about here. They are loaded. Okay, they got money. Okay,
almost like Phil Knight kind of style.
Way worse. Oof. Oregon has Phil Knight. SMU got like 4 of him. Like it's not like.
I will say this. I think I want to kind of circle around and kind of put. I just want to kind of put drive this home. Harry Leggy in the comments saying this one's special. SEC champs mean you didn't bleed out running the Briar Patch. This and Kirby said it himself, man. He talked about these guys coming back, right? These seniors that came back. Tate Ratledge said that this game, the feeling of losing the SEC championship last year, was a driving factor in him coming back because he couldn't stand it, how it felt. So to sit here the SEC championship, it's not the ultimate goal. I think we didn't, we were not Patrick Starr. We don't live under a rock, and we weren't born yesterday. But it means something to these guys. And as fans, you should feel a certain type of way about this.
Oh, for real.
100%. 100%. Because it is special. It's something. It's time for me to do this. I've been waiting on this, but I think this might be the perfect time. You went 10-2 you went 10-2. You have 2 conference losses, Alabama, Ole Miss, but to still make it there and win your conference. And obviously now you're representing the top tier of the SEC, right? The top spot in the SEC in the playoffs. Based off of the schedule that you had, right? We've talked about this. 37 days on the road, no home games. That means something. That means something. But
also, since we here, fuck you, Greg Sankey. Just like for 37 days, bro. That was the day count. 37 days. Fuck you, Greg Sankey. Fuck you.
You know what though? Georgia
and
got it out
fuck
there.
them glasses on your face too.
Hey.
I don't like them trifocals.
I mean, to be fair though, Georgia got it out the mud though, didn't they?
I mean, what in the fuck? Like, and then you sitting up here, oh, well, congratulations to Texas on a wonderful regular season. I know they didn't win it, but, we got to give them thanks. Bro, shut that shit the fuck up, bitch. Give us the trophy. Man, come on.
I will say this, though. I did find it interesting that he went straight for Texas and not Georgia. I understand you congratulate them on a good season. As a commissioner, I understand that. But it's like I don't even hear him talking about Georgia too much. I definitely did that. I'm like, what?
Not at all. Not at all.
Like, okay, whatever, I guess. Like, we'll take this trophy and I guess stick a finger up while we travel an hour back to Athens with it. You know what I mean? But I just, man, I feel like at times what we were given and how things shaked out. It seems to me like it feels like everything was meant to go against us, but somehow you persevered through everything. You battled the adversity, and now you're SEC championship. Like, crazy.
Is it crazy for me to look at the playoffs and say that we can really go on a run and win the national championship?
I'm gonna leave people on a cliffhanger. We're gonna take a quick break. And on the backside of that break, after this quick break, we're gonna talk playoff and go from there though. So Keon, thank you for bringing that up. Good transition. We will be right back. Stick around. We'll be back shortly for a quick break. All right, boys. It's time. It is time. We are back, and it's time to talk playoffs. Georgia, 2 seed in the playoffs. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go 1 through 12. Keon, I'm going to go 1 through 12. Every team, we're going to give our takeaways on this.
You have a graphic for it?
I don't have a graphic pulled up. I have it memorized. So hooray for me. All right. So from 1 to 12 in order. 1, Oregon. 2, Georgia.
Go
3,
Dogs.
Boise State. Go Dogs. 3, Boise State. 4, Arizona State. 5, Texas. 6, Penn State. 7, Notre Dame. 8, Ohio State. 9, Tennessee. 10, Indiana. 11, hold on. That's right, not Alabama, but SMU. And 12, not Alabama, but Clemson. So there's your 12, top 12 team. There's your 12 seed playoff.
All right, real quick. real quick. And I'm sorry, I keep throwing the whole feng shui of the show off, but I gotta say
you're
this.
Like that. You're
right?
like that batter that keeps calling timeout in between the pitches.
I need extra time. So,
of course,
here's my thing, right? Alabama fans, look, I get it. You wanted to be in playoffs. You probably felt like you deserved to be in playoffs. But the biggest problem is, y'all have 9 wins compared to SMU's 11, and the fact that SMU made it to their conference championship game. If SMU didn't make it to their conference championship game, this is a completely different conversation. You also have to understand that they took their first loss in conference play. That's not your testimony. All of your losses were in conference play. So you got 3. What I think, me personally, this is just my 2 cents, hoping to get $1.15 back, right? The Oklahoma loss is what cost y'all going to playoffs. Because had y'all not lose to Oklahoma, y'all would have been in playoffs. Let's be all the way real. In fact, I can make an argument that if you wouldn't have lost to Oklahoma, but you would have lost to Georgia, you probably still be in play. You probably would have made the playoffs too. See, that's the thing, right? Because after y'all lost to Tennessee, there were some more teams that fell. Y'all could have worked y'all way back up in there. Y'all could have. But it just wasn't going to go. And I get it. Y'all want to argue. Y'all want to cry about the strength of schedule. Oh, my God. Well, if this is the case, no SEC team. Greg Sankey should be on the phone with every team in the SEC telling them to cancel all of the out-of-conference games. No. Don't do that shit for Georgia. We want your smoke.
Keon, I'm going to throw a curveball and stop you right there. I've got something to say about that. I've seen a lot of idiocy on social media recently. The same Bama fans talking, well, we should just get rid of all these non-con games. We just need to schedule FCS opponents. Hey, why don't you just go to the fucking ACC? Because your 3 losses came in conference. So you just can't handle the SEC slate this year. It ain't non-con. Well, actually, I stand corrected. You about fucking lost to USL.
So here's a funny thing, right?
You won. So it ain't your non-con. It's your damn conference. So it might switch conferences. You might make it into the playoffs, maybe.
So look, we all know this is the first year that the SEC no longer has the divisions, right? Ain't it crazy that Alabama pretty much took 3 losses to 3 different teams that had we had the divisions, all of those teams would have been on the East?
Well, it depends. We don't know if Oklahoma would have been put on the East or not.
Well, I mean, for narrative's sake, right? Because they from what everybody says, right? The East is nobody but Georgia, right? And Texas was somebody this year. They made it to the conference championship.
Well, you did lose to Tennessee, which that's a respectable loss for what it's worth. But you lost to Vanderbilt, too. Both East teams. But we beat Georgia. Yeah, we're your Super Bowl. I get it. We're your national championship now. Yep. No, I just found that funny, dude. I found that funny as shit. Like, you didn't lose a non-con game. Are you scared to play competition now? Because you got the SEC and now shit's a little bit tougher than what you were expecting it to be? I don't know. But I did find that funny. And I had to say something about that. Also, Florida State fans, it's been a fucking year and you are still bitching about this. Oh, well, we lost Jordan Travis and now Georgia lost Carson Beck. Can't come out of the playoffs. Come on, man. Do better. Shit's annoying. It's different. It's different.
Definitely is.
It's ridiculous, man. It's been a year. You went 2-10. Oh, that's right. You're 2 wins. Yeah. It's a different situation. Didn't have the time. Listen, our team was better. We looked better. It's crazy, but that second half, we looked better offensively. So, shut the fuck up if you're a Florida State fan. Bitching and complaining. You had 10 other opportunities to try to go 12-0 again, but you couldn't do it. So, yeah. Sorry, that is your Reynolds rant.
Well, that's pretty much all I got to say on the topic. Yet again,
did the committee? So I'm assuming you're saying the committee got it right.
They definitely did. I mean, you don't punish SMU. They just took their first conference loss in a conference championship. They have been telling you since week 7, week 8, that they're not going to punish teams that are like, come on, bro. Y'all knew that all SMU had to do was lose close. And they lost the game within the last 10 seconds of the game. I was literally watching that game with you. Shout outs to the kicker from North Carolina, right? What's the kicker?
Nolan, my guy Nolan Hooser, Huff player. Former Huff.
Dude.
Former Huff. Yeah.
Bro, I remember watching that. I was like, okay, 56 yards. He's missing this shit. You're like, nah, this guy's going to nail it. Sure enough.
I've seen it. Dude, you got to understand, man. When we were talking through that, I've seen him enough covering North Carolina sports, high school football. I've seen him all throughout but for the most part, you don't really pay attention to it till it matters. But nonetheless, been following him because Huff's been a good school. But what really stood out in the playoff game that they had. A few years ago, Jamal Jarrett, a senior in high school, and I'm watching that game. And Nolan is just automatic. All parts of the field. Didn't matter the distance. That's how I knew. So when I told you, I was like, nah, he's making this shit. No, 56 yard, I don't give a damn. He's making this shit. It's because I've seen it. So, yeah, you can doubt it, but I didn't doubt it one bit. I was like, he's about to make this. We're about to get our way. And sure enough. No.
But the committee, they got it right. I'm going to tell you this. If your team didn't make the 12-team playoff, and Rob, I'm going to leave you with this. If your team did not make it to their conference championship, if your team didn't make it to the 12-team playoff, the first 12-team playoff, your team is trash, and you have to deal with that.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong at all. Now, I do have a question to ask you on this one, Keon. A lot of people have been talking about the automatic bids. Do you agree with the automatic bids? Because you've got Boise State as a 3-seed automatic first round bye.
Yes. So if you win your conference, you deserve to have the first round bye, because I don't want anybody to sit up here and try to take away the importance of winning your conference. Because guess what? No matter where your conference, no matter where your team is, no matter if you're Pac-12, no matter if you're, and I won't even say Pac-12, I'll say ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12. Winning your conference means a lot. It means a lot, especially down here in the SEC where it means more.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting because you hear a lot of other people in the media and across the country, wherever, and they're just basically saying that it's broken because Boise State as a 3, Arizona State as a 4 when they've played the schedules that they've played. And I'm sitting there, and one part of me understands that, but two, I understand where you're coming from. So I'm really torn on this because I do think a team, I'm not saying it's right, but say a team like I don't know. As I'm sitting there thinking about it, Penn State, what have they really done? They played close against Ohio State, and they played close against Oregon in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame, you lost to Northern Illinois. You beat Texas A&M, but should it be for the top 4 seeds, like the top 4 rank, like the period top 4?
No,
I think
got to
that's
win
the
your
internal
conference.
question.
That's why Notre Dame will never get it because they will never join a conference, and I'm not going to cry for them. Now, you have to win your conference. If you want to get a first round bye, win your conference. That needs to stay that way. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about the top 4 seeds because guess what? A lot of these bitches ain't playing no tough teams. Let's just be all the way real. It's schools of the blind, children of the deaf, and football teams of the dormant. Okay, it's not that. Okay, it's not that.
I will say though that the conference disparity, I think that's been a huge issue for the people that want top 4 seeds, right? To be the best top 4 teams. And the reason being is because the SEC is not the ACC, and the SEC is not the Mountain West. That's what they're looking at. I get that because we talked about this, Keon, in recruiting. Just this cycle alone, I think if you're in the top 25, I think Arkansas might be in the top 25, and they're at the bottom of the conference almost in recruiting. It's different. And it starts there, and then it continues through the regular games. You should be rewarded for a conference championship. However, winning your conference championship is different levels of difficulty, right?
Yeah, I don't think I don't care what your record is. If you don't win your conference, you don't deserve to have a first round bye. That I stand 2 feet down on that. Point blank period. Win your conference. See, imagine all of this stuff, all of these teams, they losing players and all of that stuff to the transfer portal. They don't have time to really address it for real. Why? Because they got a game to prep for within the next 2 weeks. Guess what? Guess who are the teams that get to handle that stuff? Teams that have the bye. Because you don't even know who you're playing. You got to find out who you're playing first. Yeah, you can practice and do all of this other stuff, but you got to find out who you're playing, right? So win your conference and then put your feet up for the next 3, possibly 4 weeks. So that it is what it is.
Well, I wouldn't say put your feet up. I definitely think, like, for instance, Georgia's case, you're definitely licking your wounds. You're prepping for an entirely new thing. But, I'm just looking at it overall, and I think Georgia probably got the best possible outcome for a playoff run, if you will. When you look at the bracket itself and you look at the seeding and how things are shaking out, I heard national media folks talking about Oregon getting punished for going undefeated by having to play the winner of it was the winner of Tennessee and Ohio State. And that's kind of a tough draw, especially for a number 1 seed. But at the same time, I'm not sitting here feeling sorry for anybody in the playoffs because I know they don't feel sorry for us.
Point blank period. But yet again, win your conference. Conference championships do matter. I'm a big proponent, big believer in them. But like I said, man, at the end of the day, I'm happy for the season. I'm happy for what we were able to accomplish by winning the conference. I take a lot, like Georgia fans all around, y'all should really take a lot of pride in the fact that we won the conference with all of the bullshit that we dealt with this year as fans, from watching players get injured, watching our team lead the nation in drops. Like the fact that we even won and the fact that we even showed up to the conference championship within itself is a testament to how resilient the team is, right? So I'll say this and then I'm gonna hop off, and I will see you on the next show. Got some stuff that I got to handle on my end, but yet again we have ended another regular season. Yet again, Dogs on top, horns down. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
And we get to do that because we own Texas.
No, for real. And I'm doing it twice because I'm from Texas. Boom. Go Dogs, baby. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your night. Sayonara, my friend. And Carson Beck, DGD for life.
What better way to end it? We hope everyone has a great rest of your morning, evening, afternoon. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe if you are watching. If you are listening, make sure to leave us a rate and review. Hey, 5 stars works for me. With that being said, we're going to sign off for this episode of the DGD Podcast. We will catch y'all next time. Go Dogs.